of men. What are some of the signs of women
Like imagine everybody just spreading what they told my real dad.
It's gonna be my ears. You know what I'm saying?
Physical
Ears,
spirit.
like, man,
If you cut your skin, you see blood. Whether black, whether Hispanic, any other race, whether you cut yourself, you see that there's blood. So that firm belief, I need to exercise that humanity to any human beings. If you want to have peace in this world, the youth has to be part of the equation. Youth has energy, and always whenever there is conflict, they use as a catalyst or conduit to foment troubles in any part of the world.
Peace, everyone. Welcome back for another episode. Today, it is exactly what I dreamed of. This is the reason why we're here, to help the world become a better place, to help our people. And what better way to exude that energy than to be amongst one of the most influential, one of the people that has been putting in the work for over 30 years to help the world at the highest level. Somebody that is incredible, very knowledgeable, and connected to the most important people of the world. Truly a world leader, somebody that I highly respect, and needs no introduction. However, it's such an honor to be sitting next to a brother, Kojo.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Can you please introduce yourself? Let the world know who you are and why you're here.
First of all, before I say anything, let me give glory to the Almighty God who has sustained our lives to this far. Even though the world is still going through challenges and upheavals of some sort, but we are so hopeful because we are breathing.
Yes, sir.
Your brother is called Kojo Sackey, and he's a eminent Goodwill Peace Ambassador, African Development Focal Point to the United Nations, International Association of World Peace Advocates, which has a UN Special Consultative Status and also digital communication status with the United Nations. Not only that, his workings have grown out of bounds, so we have a lot of partnership with other well-meaning organizations in line with United Nations Goal 17, which talks about partnership. So, Peace Project Light appointed me as the Premier Global Peace Ambassador for the world, for the workings that I do for the world. Not only that, I have some association with World Federation of the United Nations. So the Ghana chapter, currently, I'm the national coordinator and also director of international relations. I've been a co-founder for United Nations Youth Association way back 2011, and I mobilized the youth. We launched the United Nations Youth Association, which has a wing with the World Federation of the United Nations at the Kofi Annan International Peace and Training Center. And for the first time of its kind, I was also on the TV3 Sunrise show talking about peace in 2008. And Ghana was going into a pool and the tensions was heightened. And we know that youth has a lot of exuberance. And anything that you want to do and youth are part of it, it travels. And they have the energy. It's not for nothing that the late Kofi Annan, who was the 7th Secretary General of the world, once said that youth should not be made part of the problem, but they should be part of the solution. So as a result, United Nations has to pass a resolution 2250, which talks about how you should be involved in decision-making process. And even for that, before that, some of us had traveled to Brazil to attend the 40th Plenary Assembly. So we're part of the drafting and other bill formulation with the post-sustainable development goals. So at tender as I was, I made a lot of submission. We were asked to come together to form Youth Advisory Council. So I was part of those processes. So I've been around for quite a long time, and many organizations have engaged me for my services. I was appointed as envoy to the United Nations under the back of the civil society organizations. Not only that, I'm part of the media. If you remember the General Assembly, I was representing the African Business Communication Network for the General Assembly, the 78th section. I've moderated high-level events, side events of the United Nations. And as we speak, I've received almost 6 global awards on a row. My visit for the first time in the United States of America, I've received Power of the Dream Award from Miss America International. I've received UN SDG Excellence Award from African Hope Committee, which has accreditation with the United Nations. I've received Global Peace Ambassador on social impact as global humanitarian. Not only that, even State of Scientology has even given me award, and Who is Who America has nominated me for an award, because whenever I'm working, I work dispassionately. My goal is to support the causes of United Nations, the principles, the values, because once I was pursuing my MPhil program in peace and security in the country, Winneba, I was the president for the center. And you realize that at the time we had even divisional commanders, lawyers, and what have you, but the class thought it wise that I should lead the group, because I've been involved in youth mobilization, peace building, peacemaking processes. It's a passion. And I can say that I was born on September, which is earmarked as the International Day of Peace, 21st September. So my lifestyle has been a journey for peace, and I've been involved in a lot of conferences and meetings where my ideas has always been brought to fore. So when I want to sit here and say some of the things that characterize me, we might not finish the program.
Okay, I mean, and you still have more accolades that I know of that you didn't even mention, and it's incredible to see how passionate, and there is no coincidence as to why you have so many awards, received global recognition for your work in humanitarian efforts and your humanitarian, you have a philanthropic mind. I've seen pictures of you with the president, with ambassadors, with other ambassadors. And for me, I was at the UN at some point, and I find that place to be the safe haven for all of the people who want to help the world. It's really a place where there is a lot of love and a lot of hope that is to be given to the world, people that want to give hope to the world. Where does that passion that you've been able to create, where does this energy come from? And when did you realize that this was your mission in life?
Thank you very much. Let me first of all pay a glowing tribute to my father, my own father, who is a humanitarian par excellence, because he has supported many workings of the United Nations civil society organization in our country, and he was part of the 3 co-founders of the United Nations Youth Association in Ghana, of which we founded to mobilize the youth towards programs and activities that will brighten their future and also introduce them to diplomatic processes in the world. Way back in 1996, I finished school, but I was privy to join some of the GUNSA programs in Ghana, and when I entered into Adisada College, I was part of the United Nations programs, students programs. And after I had graduated from the university, I joined United Nations Youth Associations, and I was the National Youth Coordinator for the country. And I was very young, involved with the elderly in decision-making process. And I worked dispassionately. If you remember, I told you that even at a point I had to travel all the way to Brazil to be part of the plenary assembly. And when we were there, we saw that, hey, the youth has to be really, really recognized. And my workings was so evident. And I was even then appointed as the Director of Communications and Director of International Relations. First of all, I was deputy to Professor Lamte in the country, and my workings were so evident. I worked dispassionately, took the association to Parliament, to well-meaning prominent people in the country, the Chief Justice of the land, the UN Resident Coordinator, Charles Abani. We happened to meet some of the deputy foreign ministers in the country, and so many places that actually led the crusade. Even when it was so difficult at the time, God has gifted me with skills that I was able to relate very well. And I do these things dispassionately. And there are times that I do these works without any support from anywhere, from my own funding. And I know when I had even graduated from the school, I had to set up an underprivileged fund for the orphans. Way back, I gave money for the orphans to support them. My father told me, Kojo, you have to do that. And I did it happily. And aftermath, I was even engaged in Ghana Water Company, Aqua Veterans. If you remember, there was a veterans who was running the company. I did my service there, and after my service, I was retained as consumer survey manager for Tama region. And even before the start of time, the working hours, I had even gone ahead to be at the office. Maybe 4:30, 5 o'clock, I am working. I work dispassionately, not looking at what I will get, but whatever I can do to contribute to the sustainability and the growth of that establishment that I have subscribed to. So people sometimes ask me, don't you need money? I said, no. I remember some of the sayings of the past president of America who said that think of what you can do for your country first than what you will gain from that workings. So that has been the driving force. So my journey has been way back in the 1996. And some of my uncles, if you know Kojo Sackey, who has been the former General Assembly President, was my direct uncle. Some uncles who have been the president of the country, the late Professor Mills, and some of my fathers and my uncles work closely with both governments, like the sitting government MPP and then NDC and leading political parties in our country. So I can say that I have had the benefits of learning from political leaders that I look up to, and these are the things that drive me on. I had the opportunity to be at the Nelson Mandela's house to learn so many things concerning good values. You know, late Nelson Mandela was incarcerated for so many years. But after he was exonerated, he could have asked the whites at the time to leave the country. But they said, no, let them stay behind. Forgiveness. And then let's all work together to build a better world. And as a result, I learned something from him as my role model, one of my role models. And Kofi Annan, the late Kofi Annan, the 7th Secretary General of the world, has been my mentor. So way back whilst I was in school, there are some people that I look up to and I learned so many things from them. And my life has been so peaceful. They asked me, why are you so peaceful? Even when I was coming to the States here, I missed my flight. I had to be at Du Bois Center in the States. And lo and behold, I was put in Kofi Annan's room. But it's amazing. It's like
the way the universe works.
yes, I was in this thing. So when I came to America here, I was involved in so many workings of the United Nations, and I pay glowing tribute to people like Amma, Dr. Clarice. I pay glowing tribute to Danso, Dr. Danso. I pay glowing tribute to many people that have supported my core and my journey. And I have honor to mention Berkeley, Queen Mother, who has been very supportive. A lot of people, Madam Hawa, and one of the security staffs, like Florence, have paid glowing tribute to my uncle, who is called, we call it Uncle Co and Co. And many people, my church brothers, who had supported my call because they see that, hey, this man has energy in him that is contribute to peace and mediation process. So many people have supported my call.
Yes, you definitely have a very unique and powerful uplifting energy. You know, we spent the day together so far, and you've been very energized throughout the entire day. We got to get you food at some point because I don't know how much energy. It's just it almost seems like it's infinite. You have since the moment we met to now. It's been infinite energy, nonstop. You know, your soul is very tied to your cause, which is, you know, world peace and creating a better, sustainable world for all of us. If you don't mind me asking, what is for you? What is the perfect world? What is it that we need to attain, achieve, and what is the vision that we need to you know, as a society, as a culture, as a people, what is it that we have to do in order to attain these sustainable goals set forth by the United Nations?
So first of all, thank you for the question. God has created a beautiful continent, irrespective of your belief system.
Mm-hmm.
United Nations stands for all cultures, all countries, like 193 countries have subscribed to a charter with a firm belief that in the lifetimes of men, 2 wars have occurred, which has brought untold hardship to humanity. As a result, they don't want these happenings to occur in man's history. So within the charter, they have indicated that never again, whether small or big, we have a common agenda, a common destiny. So we have 4 pillars, which talks about peace and security, fundamental human rights, rule of law, and then economic importance, like economic sustainability, sorry. So in my mind, to have a very peaceful world, first of all, we need to be selfless. We learn to live for others to live. It's a golden principle. I don't want to be hurt. If I don't want to be hurt, then I should have the same mindset not to hurt my fellow human being. So if I see somebody going through problems and challenges, I must have a feeling to help. You have to have a conscience to help your brother because we are all one people. So irrespective of your color, if you cut your skin, you see blood. Whether black, whether Hispanic, any other race, whether you cut yourself, you see that there's blood. So that firm belief, I need to exercise that humanity to any human being. So I want to say that if you want to have peace in this world, the youth has to be part of the equation, the conversation, the narrative.
Right.
And youth has energy. They are exuberant. And always, whenever there is conflict, they are used as a catalyst or conduit to foment troubles in any part of the world. So why don't we leverage on this positive energy to be able to bring certain interventions like technology, AI, that is happening in our time? Youth are very adventurous.
Right.
So as a young professionals, I know that you always want to achieve something. And those drives, that energy will bring a very peaceful world, because he has a mindset to develop the world, to have a legacy, not just any legacy, but a positive legacy. And I have also maintained that women are very key in this conversation. So if you want to have a very peaceful world, women has to be engaged. Because anything you give to a woman, he will multiply it to you. If you give woman trouble, he will multiply it to you. If you give woman peace, he will multiply it to you. In our part of the world, they said if there is even an issue and we are contemplating as to how we can get a solution, they said, ask women or the grandma, because they are the mother earth.
Right.
They have a lot of positive vibes in them. So let's bring all party to the equation. Inclusivity, that is what the United Nations is looking at for. So when there are inclusivity, the world will be peaceful, because you count, I count, like the Ubuntu principle. You are because we are.
Right.
You understand? Right. So let us see a world where there is solidarity, where all of us are on board, whether black or white, irrespective of where you come from, your status, your religious affiliation, your race, anything that United Nations points out to. Once we understand that core principles, the world will be a peaceful place.
What is it about the world? What is it about men, humanity, that has us in what appears to be a constant state of war, a constant state of turmoil? What is it you're an ambassador, you're sitting General Assemblies, you're seeing the conversations that are happening behind closed doors. What is it that is going on behind the scenes at the meetings at the UN? What are the conversations like? And in your opinion, what is it that is causing so much turmoil in the world?
United Nations wants the whole world to reason together, whether big or small. So we believe in individual sovereign rights.
What is that, for those who don't know?
So we are saying that if I'm from Ghana,
Mm-hmm.
Ghana, in comparison, or when you compare America to Ghana, Ghana is a very small country with about 40 million population.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at America with about 350 million population approximately. And these two countries have to sit on one table to discuss policies, programs that will affect their citizens.
Right.
Definitely, once one has a political width or might, there could be a way to do things that will inure to its benefits.
Right. Right.
As a matter of principle.
Right.
But the United Nations is saying that no, whether you are big or small, let us build on consensus. If you are looking for food to sustain your people, Ghana, which has a 40 million population, they are also human beings, so they must also have a food to live on.
Right.
If you are looking for good water, the same gesture has to be extended to countries that have their currencies, that they have their leaders, like voted people to office, they have their laws, just as any other countries have their laws. it made them sovereign. They have their self-rule. They have their self-determination to live as people, just as any other part of the world.
To allow people to exercise their inalienable rights,
Right.
in such a way where their life could be a life of meaning, a life of prosperity, a life where they can educate, have children, and procreate and continue their legacy in the world without being stifled or made destitute.
So these are the reasons why Roosevelt and co. Signed the Charter of 1945 that the world should have one common agenda where we can dialogue, we can engage in decision-making processes.
Right.
Where you bring your ideas count, my ideas count, because there is a saying that if you want to go alone, you go very fast. But if you want to go with a team, you were able to go very far.
Right.
So sitting at the back of some of the conferences and this, and you see that there is some kind of power hegemony play. At one point in time, they were working on some bills and other policy decisions, and you see that this country will make a submission and other country feels that, hey, it is not going my way, and there is a lot of discussion. Sometimes they see eye to eye, sometimes there is some kind of heat here and there, but they always find a way to patch up.
Right.
They always find a way to judge. And most of the things that people see outside, that there is heat in the room, it is always not the case. And luckily enough, some of the programs are telecast all over the world for people to see that inside the building, they are always talking.
Right.
And the same gesture has to be extended outside. Countries must see eye to eye, and the things that drive conflict are inequalities, relative deprivation, hunger, people who always want to have something to eat, climate actions, like you see drought happening in other places by virtue of our actions, and these things deplete the ozone layer. So United Nations has a goal, an agenda to even reach 1.5 degrees Celsius to be able to reduce some of the emissions, the ultraviolet rays that destroy our skins and gives us cancer and kills us, as the scientists say. So the discussions are always ongoing, and people are involved. They want the world to be a better place. Civil society space are all getting involved at this point. And I see women coming over. Youth are always coming. Different groups, cultural, people with different cultural heritage are also coming. And I see that there's energy. Even though there are conflicts around the world, the Secretary General of the world, Antonio Guterres, is doing everything possible to make sure that there is peace around the world. So my call to bigger players like America, like Russia, like China, the P5, you understand, UK and co, France and what have you.
Yeah, the BRICS nation, everyone.
Yes. So we are. The youth are saying that see eye to eye. At the time that these countries were using their veto power meaningfully, some of the conflicts around the world were minimal. It is high time that they eat their muscles, like how they flatten their muscles. They eat that kind of big muscles on the table and let them see eye to eye. Because without peace, we cannot have development. And Africa, where I come from, we have a lot of youth force who have learned a lot of skills that they need to harness those skills to profitable ventures. But unfortunately, because there are conflicts in our Sahel region, Sudan, and other places, it doesn't give room for development. And we are begging, calling on these big players to begin to reason again. Well, you understand?
Is it corporate greed? Is it lack of education? Is it just the lack of resources? What is it that has kept a large portion of the population in Africa, for example, and we could even go and say in America as well, large populations of people that are in poverty, that are not in, do not have solid educations. What are the causes of these kinds of issues? Is it the corporations? Is it just the lack of ambition by the individual? Is it lack of resources? What is the cause?
I would say that one of the causes of these underdevelopments in our region has basically been to the fact that we have had leaders who are not selfless.
Selfless, yes.
Some are so much charged with greed, and an hungry man is always an angry man.
Yes.
If you have hunger in you, you always want to find a living. Only few people that believe that even though I don't have food, but to steal, I have to tell my brother for help before I can survive.
Right.
It is not a recipe to do negative things, but
you're more prone to do bad
yes, it poses a lot of danger. It
Yes.
poses national security. So some of we are not saying that all African leaders are greed by nature. Some are doing well. We have had former presidents of our time, like Dr. Osagyefo Nkrumah. We have had Patrice Lumumba. We have Nelson Mandela. You can name them, who were very selfless. When Nelson Mandela has been the one-term president, he had the opportunity to even extend his stay after he had brought emancipation to his people. If it were to be one of these recent leaders, he could have said, hey, I still want to go for second term or third term, or to have like a dynasty, as if his generation cannot work and fend for themselves. So they want to amass wealth at all means.
course, yeah.
Things that are meant for their people, they always want to find a way to give to only their people.
It's
like so it's like
corruption.
do and die affair, winners take all syndrome. So it has to be that once I am doing well, my brother must also do well. You are put in authority. People collectively voted you into office to, as it were, give hope, meaning to their life. But unfortunately, you see some, for their first term, they will mean well, and then getting to the second part of their governance, that is where you see leadership. They seem they are tired. They have gotten what they want, and for that matter, the leadership that they have to exercise, you don't see it any longer.
Like the a good leader that I see is the president of El Salvador. The president of El Salvador has taken that country and has completely turned it upside down, in the sense that they were doing one of the highest criminal crime rated countries in the world. He took what some would consider extreme measures, lowered the crime rate 95%. He has invested in crypto. I think he put 100 million in, got 300 million out, something along those lines, and has been giving back to his people, creating incentives for foreign nationals who are professionals to come in and be able to help in their respective fields, architectures, mathematicians, philosophers. He's giving them the ability to gain citizenship and incentivizing for these educators to come in and help their country. What are your thoughts with regards to the actions taken by the president of El Salvador? Do you think that moving forward, the rest of the world should adopt that selfless giving back to to his community, his people, his country? Is that a recipe for success for all other countries, do you think?
Like I said, if you are selfless, you always think about the welfare of others.
Yes.
If you are a humanitarian, you don't think about yourself first, you think about the people that you lead.
Yes.
So if Salvador has taken upon itself, or the president has taken it upon itself to show the way, we have to learn from those positive energy.
Yes.
And also the model that we have as Salvador, what I would say, that's like a model.
Yeah,
from
he created
the best.
he created like the ground,
Yeah,
the roots for people to follow, the ground floor. Like he created the path for a lot of other world leaders to follow, in order for them to actually have success.
yes,
Because a lot of my sister, people in my family are connected to, ambassadors as well, and people in presidencies and all that, right? So I've been involved in the world. I've seen the corruption happen at the highest level, and I think that it trickles down into the society. So if a leader, if a president is corrupt, subsequently his cabinet, his team, the people around him, and it trickles down into the state levels and so forth and so on in the communities.
basically. And you see, we are not here to say that all African leaders or other parts of the world leaders are not doing well. We have a lot of leaders like Rwanda model. Rwanda was coming from ashes of war, almost 30 years down the lane. I was part of the ceremony where they were remembering that genocidal attack, the Tutsis and the Hutus attack way back because of poor communication and labeling and what have you. That the leadership has invested in the people, technology, and giving meaning to the people again, and they are always thriving. But I want to also to say that sometimes it's also not about the leaders of the country that are not doing well. Sometimes foreign policies makes it so hard for our countries to grow.
Right.
Like the monetary policies that are put in place that make it so difficult for our leaders to also have a breathing space to give meaning to their people. Because
and to your point, how is it that the United States is bankrupt? They've been bankrupt since 1933, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and this is a bankrupt nation. How is it that the United States is bankrupt but is giving 95 billion in loans to Ukraine and Israel, giving 60 billion to Israel here, 20 billion here, 30 billion, over time, giving money for wars essentially, while that money could have been used to help serve other countries in a better way, that could have used that money to help themselves, their interests. Of course, there's a lot of politics involved, and the interests have to serve the American company, but overall I think every nation wants the best for their people, right? So how is it that the United States can print this unlimited amount of money give this money to other nations that are going into Africa, extracting resources from Africa, creating something for their nation and not pouring back into the places where they're extracting from, not pouring back into these African nations, giving back and empowering the people that are actually funding for everything else in the world almost at this point.
I want to say that countries like America, countries like Russia, countries like China, and development partners have really meant well for African regions, because that's why even Ghana, we always say that we are non-aligned. We don't align with countries, but we look at the policies and the objective right for our people. You understand what does that encounter or that engagement with state and government will bring to those corporations or those partners? You understand? So I want to say that every leader has his priority.
Right.
Some of the leaders are of the view that those things will best serve their needs. He will go for it, because that's why we have the Congress, we have other legislative bodies, other arms of government. So they look at the situations at the time, and those situations drive them to make some of these decisions. So I cannot hold brief for the president of America why they do A, B, C, but generally every leader look at the situation, and desperate situation call for desperate measures.
Right.
So in our humble view, it would have been prudent to use those monies that are used to buy ammunitions and other deadly weapons to be to areas where there are under development,
Right.
and build their government,
Build the world economy.
world economy.
Yeah.
Because we have research has taught us that once people are living well, once inequality gap is bridged,
Yes.
there will be some sort of peace within the. It can there wouldn't be. We can't say that there will be absence of war entirely, because conflict sometimes is also positive to bring cohesion and what have you. But underneath of it, let's use those funds to areas where there is some kind of inadequacy. People are suffering, like climate issues. Now, the ozone layer is depleting very, very fast, and the temperature keeps on rising all the day. Why don't we use those monies into African countries where we can grow trees and reduce the carbon emission? We can use it for thermal energy, like solar panels, not necessarily using the hydros and what have you, but the energy deficit through solar energy, because we have a long chunk of sun rays in that space, and the deficit we have in the energy mix is very huge in Africa. And once we have enough energy to go into agro business, like agriculture, planting of more foods, and we will be able to serve the needs of the world. Go to even Nigeria, they have vast lands that it can feed the world. Ghana, we have a lot of arable lands that when we have enough resources from our donor partners, we'll be able to serve the needs of the world. So my plea and my call is that irrespective of their priorities, it is better they flip to the other side of the coin by giving meaning to developing countries that have not attained sustainable development in terms of economic might, for the world to have a better place for all of us.
I completely agree. I've traveled the world enough to know that a strong economy allows for people to have education, allows for people to have family structures. Family structures allow for, children to grow in healthy environments, which allow for them to become respectful, well mannered members of society that will allow for them to now transition that into the giving aspect of themselves and work to give back to their communities and to the people around them and to the world essentially. So it all starts with in the words of Amma, it all begins with eradicating poverty. If we can find a way to eradicate poverty through the SDGs, finding ways to create businesses and education initiatives to the children and for the children and to these developing countries, I think that's going to be the solution for a greater future.
It is pretty much so, because before this podcast, remember we met and one of your companies had agreed that I have identified a gap in African region. There are conflicts here and there, and leaders are trying to give back to their electorate or their citizens, but sometimes there is always a gap that they need to fill. So why don't we come to the support and the aid of African countries? So you are planning to help in donation, like certain things that will alleviate the plight of the people. We are not interested in handouts. African youth are poised to work, but sometimes situations make it so difficult. We are still a developing country. So we are not still there yet.
It takes time.
It takes time. America and other advanced countries has taken a lot of time to be where they are now. Even now, and when I go apply your rules, I see what's going on every day. So it means that no one is fully sufficient.
Right.
There's still work to be done, but some of the areas are highly, highly deprived. And back to your question, like the causes of poverty, simply because some are by virtue of where they are born, they naturally become poor or they become rich.
Yeah. Just with circumstance.
The circumstances make people poor, but you cannot live in your circumstance and say that, hey, I'm not doing anything to transform my life.
Right.
You got to learn a skills. You have to gain knowledge. Within the Sustainable Development Goals 4 talks about education. That is where empowerment comes in. So you see that people who are even disabled in our mind, they are creating content. They are in the art space doing so many ways that brings them money and economic leverage. African can equally do same. Once the youth are empowered, we have the strong youth force. Once they are empowered, we have the industries where these raw materials that are transferred to the developed world to be refined and bring back to the country of origin. It is high time we create industries so that the youth, after they have completed school, they'll be able to apply their skills. There are a lot of youth who have completed universities, polytechnics, and they still can't find well-meaning job to do, which poses national security to such governments around the world. So if you want to actually reduce poverty, idle hand, the devil always finds work for the idle hand. So the youth are poised to work. Not only the youth, women should be supported. Girls should be supported. In other parts of the world, people feel that it is only the boys that should go to school. It is not the case. Dr. Agri once said that if you educate a man, you educate an individual. If you educate a woman, you educate an entire nation, because the women are always with the case that the early development starts with the mothers. So once they are also being trained in terms of even how they should give a nutritious food milk to their children to develop their brain cells for higher learning, they can know how to prepare good food for their kids at the early stages of life. And they will also teach them values that will bring a positive change in the world. Because I remember my mother has to always guide me that, hey, this is what you have to do. I prayed going to be to my mother. When my father was into missionary works and what have you, my mother will come back to home and he acts like a man.
Right.
He is always on us because my father is a disciplinarian. And throughout my workings, I always make sure that I stay on the path of truth, because truth is power.
Yes.
You have to be credible in all that you do. And once you build that credibility, positive things will be entrusted to your care. So the ways to reduce poverty is to give support, startup capitals to our graduates who are coming out from the university. They don't need to use the Mediterranean unapproved route to come to Europe and other advanced countries where there might not even be the job that they are looking for. Because we are not saying that people should not move.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes because of conflict, because of certain exigencies like droughts and severe heat and whatever can drive people to move from a different location to another location. But Africa has a lot of resources that, if it is leveraged very well, we can even serve the world. We can be a world basket to the world.
Right.
You know, hunger is one of the challenges for United Nations and for the world. And Africa can be best placed to serve areas that they are having hunger problems.
The world hunger could be taken care of if we fund and focus on making sure that Africa can supply the world with food. Africa can supply the entire world with enough food.
Sure.
Enough land to plant and grow and become the farmer nation, so to say, of the world.
Sure.
That's completely true.
And you go to Ghana, for instance, you see a place like Brunhafo region, which is the breadbasket of the region. We have a lot of cashew. We have a lot of wild plantation that, if they are given, the farmers are given support, we can feed a whole lot of people. It comes to central region where I hail from. There are a lot of lands that will be able to support the world.
Right.
And northern region, there are a lot of places, and we talk about the fish supplies. We have good sea, which is serene, that the fishes can serve the needs of the world. Not even exporting the fishes raw to the world, but build refineries where we can add value to the things that we get from the sea. We don't sell them raw, but we add value to it.
Right.
So we are calling on the world to come and build refineries in our region to alleviate the people from their poverty line.
Right. Just give people opportunity to grow. That's all people need is an opportunity to grow. And for the businesses that are out there that have the ability to create a factory somewhere, move your factory to Africa, see what's going on over there, survey, learn, and find ways to share the knowledge to help other people is basically what I'm understanding, right?
Sure, because one of the ways has been always educate them. Once you educate the people, after they have gained the education, what is the next step? The next step is to be gainfully employed, not only sitting in the classroom alone. It could be skill training, apprenticeship, where artisans also come into the equation. The tilers, the masons, the carpenters, they are the people that can also drive industries.
Right.
So all these sectors has to be catered for, and our leaders can do that through the right mindset
Yeah.
that we are given power to transform lives. And it is high time that leaders who are old enough should only give backbone to the youth. The youth should be the driving force
Right. Right.
of economy. Blend them. Let's blend the youth and
Get the old people out. Bring the new young people
People,
in so that we can reinvigorate.
the system.
Yeah, the system.
Because sometimes nature will tell you that the elderly want to do it, but the
They
energy
can't.
is not there.
Yeah, they can't do
They
it.
cannot. You see, we have spoken for many minutes, but still the energy is there, and we
Yeah,
have
yeah.
equally you people that they have the drive to create legacies,
Yeah.
change their world. Let's support them. Let's have a mindset that we are supporting them to grow.
Yeah.
And once we support them, we take the credit because it is for all of us. It's not for only the youth, but it's a collective win-win situation for the leaders.
Agreed. You know, we're gonna have to cut it short here. It's 3:45. I have to go back to my business, to finish out. However, I would like to have you back on, for more information, for more knowledge to be given. You know, we have a platform. Our platform is growing. Thank God. We're slowly creating our position in the world, a place where we can give back to our communities, back to the people who are kind enough to listen to us and what we have to say. Some episodes that we have are entertaining. Other episodes, such as this episode, is more enlightening and more down my path. What I enjoy most is to be able to help the world. I think it's very important for us to have a spirit of giving, and my way of giving back is to give back knowledge. It's what I have to give. I help out where I can, and I hope to one day be able to provide the value that you provide to the world on a daily basis. Being that I was at the UN, and I know the sacrifice and the work that it takes to not only achieve what you have achieved multiple times over, multiple nominations, multiple awards. I am honored. I am blessed to be in your presence. I thank you for the work that you have done, for the work that you're continuing to do, and hopefully, I will partake in some of the things that you're doing, and we can, I can get my spirit as invigorated as you have yours. So I appreciate you for your time. If there's anything that you would like to say in closing, go take the time now to say it, and then maybe even next week or whenever you're available, I'd love to have you back on. If you're available on like a Saturday or Sunday, when we could just sit down and really dissect some of the things and teach the audience so that they can see and learn, and we can promote this to businesses and people who have resources to provide assistance to the motherland. That would be something that I'd like to do.
Thank you very much once again for the platform. Your platform is very, very big.
Thank you.
It reaches about 10 million viewership.
In total, about that.
Yeah, so a lot of people are tuning in every now and then, and they are listening the good works you are doing. So thank you for the opportunity. And also I want to end on a note that Ghana will be entering into a pool, and I want to use this platform to call for peace among all leaders who are contesting for power. Power is only meant to transform lives, not to destroy. So institutions that are charged with responsibility to ensure peaceful election, free, fair elections, let us play our role very well, so that peace will prevail in the region, because Ghana has been a focal point where, or let me say, a gateway to Africa, where most of the world are looking up to the region. So we want peace to prevail in the upcoming election, and I strongly believe that Ghana will live to that task, because we have become, as it were, a model when it comes to diplomacy, when it comes to democratic principles. We believe in the rule of law, free and fair elections, and there has been some transitions over and over, so this is not the time to lose it.
Right.
And many partners that I have spoken with are praying that Ghana should live up to the task, so that they can bring in more development into the region.
Yes.
So my call is that there will be peaceful election, not only Ghana, but the rest of the countries that are also observing elections. Let peace prevail, because peace is the bedrock for development. And without peace, we cannot grow. And one thing I've learned is that if we're able to say, I am sorry, in admission of what you have done, and the person that you have also offended saying that I have forgiven you, the world will be a peaceful place, because we came in with nothing and we are not living anything out of this world. So if you have food, you have shelter, we have what we clothe on, we should be content with life. Man must grow, but there are basic things of life that should only content our lives. And as a humanitarian, my call is that let peace reign on our land. We need peace. Let's get women on board. Let's get youth on board. Let's get everyone on board. That is what the United Nations is calling for. The 17 Sustainable Development Goals is all talking about inclusion. And now, even civil society organization is well captured in the United Nations conversation. And as you have heard before, come 9 to 10th May, United Nations and civil society organization is organizing a maiden conference in Africa, in Nairobi, Kenya, which is first of its kind. And we are giving thanks to the Secretary General of the World for creating that platform for civil society organization officially to engage with the United Nations ecosystem. And we want to thank the team of Nassau for leading charge, and all partners who have supported these programs and activities, and missions and governments and donor partners who have supported this call to get the civil society to be part of the United Nations ecosystem, to change the narrative of only government and only few people who need to build the world. United Nations concept is all inclusive. So we wish people who will be coming from all walks of life to Nairobi a safe trip, and we hope that it will be a program that will come out with a common agenda that will drive the climate action, that will drive gender issues, that will drive youth participation in development process, that will drive better education and good governance. Things that are very positive that people can relate with. So I am so thankful, and I thank my wife, my family back home who have supported my call, and all those who are by one way or the other supported my journey in the humanitarian services. I want to seize this opportunity to thank you so much that words cannot even express it. And I'm very forever grateful. And I want to say that if by dint of my work I have erred or said something that it's offended you, forgive me. And whoever that have worked that he has also offended you, I forgive, because peace is what we need. We have to live in a peaceful world. So countries that are going through war, Middle East, Gaza, Ukraine, Putin, and that of Ukraine, they should come back to the table again. And Netanyahu and all the world leaders, let's come back to the table again. Hamas, all those that have kept people in hostages, let us free them. Let us not be bombing and destroying properties and lives. The world is peaceful, so we must protect that land. And as we are talking about peaceful world, we have to also talk about economic development. So Africa is a better place, and we are saying that we are not producing much of the emission to the climate problems, but we are the ones that suffer most. Right. So we want developed world to support Africa and other developing countries that are having the scourge of climate impact. So thank you very much, and shalom to the world. This is your humble servant, your brother, your son, Kojo Sackey, and I'm so happy to be here this afternoon.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you. I love you. I thank you for the work that you're doing. I look forward to having you back on. You know, these are the kind of conversations that I want to have, that I need to have, and I need the world to understand that this is truly the most important conversations that people need to hear, because a lot of people are worried about their daily lives. They don't focus on what's happening outside of their small world. You know, they go to work, they come home, they stub their toe, they're worried about their foot. That's all they care about. That's their, you know, the world is much bigger. There's a lot of bigger, you know, issues. You know, we need to figure out ways to unify, to protect, and to save the children, because if we don't create a better place for the world, if we don't create a better place for our children, the future is going to be grimmer and grimmer and grimmer. And, you know, I started this platform for the purpose of giving knowledge and helping the world. And this is exactly what I feel that we've done today in this conversation and in many other conversations moving forward. So thank you again, and I appreciate you.
It's a pleasure, because I remember one time I've been doing my work and even there's no food in my stomach. I was having headaches still. I had to attend meetings at the United Nations, trying to contribute my knowledge, my skills, and everything that will make the world a better place. I selflessly give myself to that cause. So I'm calling on corporations and organizations who have the funds to support people who are doing the humanitarian services, to be able to support them, to be able to bring peace into the world, to be able to bring growth into the world, because the world is looking up to you. You cannot keep the money and sponsor things that will not bring changes and transformation into the world. Support young ones who have given themselves up for this call to be able to change the global narration and then have a paradigm shift. Thank you very much for the great opportunity.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you, brother. Peace, guys.